Hi, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Sophie, and today I'm bringing you a small book haul. Now it's a new season, I thought I will show you the books that I hauled in the last 3 months. So I don't have as many books as I usually do because my plan for this year is to read as much of my physical TBR as possible before I head off to move to a new city, and then I can build up my own library when I have the space to do so. Currently I live in a small 1-bedroom area with my partner, so I don't have enough room to really dedicate towards my books. They're scattered everywhere. I have stacks of my favourite books behind me. I have a book bag of all of my books that I want to read. I have a collection of books that I have read and I'm keeping like in this drawer behind me and in my desk. So they're scattered everywhere, and I would really love to have a space where I can just have a bookshelf and keep all my books there. So that is going to be happening soon, but for now I just don't have the space, which is why I'm trying to read as much as possible on my physical TBR and on haul any books that I don't really love or I don't want to keep anymore. But of course I can't help but buy books at the same time, because book buying and reading books are two different hobbies and I have both of those. So I bought a couple of books in January, but I've already read them, so I'm not going to haul them here. But basically I have read How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I do have the signed version of that, but it is now stored in my favourites section. And also Don't Fear the Reaper by Stephen Graham Jones, which is the red book behind me. So those are two that I hauled at the start in January and February that I already read. I read them as soon as they came out. So these are some of the books that I haven't got around to reading yet that I have bought from February through to the start of April. So let's get started. So the first one is Elevation by Stephen King. This is a short novella. This is for a reading project that I'm taking part in, and I picked this up on Vinted for £1, so I haven't got around to reading it just yet. Next up we have Notes on an Execution. So this book, I've seen loads of booktubers talking about this, and I was influenced because they've loved it, and I too wanted to read it, but I waited until it was in paperback to actually pick up a copy. And this cover is so different from the US version, and to be fair, I wasn't much of a fan of it. I'd rather have the purple cover. I will put an overlay if you don't know what I'm talking about, but yeah, the UK cover has a fox on it. At the start I was like, what? That doesn't make sense, but who knows, it might make sense. But it is kind of cute, and I'm kind of warming up to this cover now. So this is about a person on death row. It's told through the women's perspectives of his victims, basically. And yeah, it sounds really interesting, and I really enjoyed hearing other people's thoughts on this, and I thought it was something that I would enjoy reading. So based on that, I did just buy it outright, and I hope to get around to reading it soon because it's definitely high on my list to get around to. Then the next one we have is How High We Go, and this, I saw the hardback version of this and I loved the cover. I know it's a cover buy, but I don't really enjoy picking up hardbacks. I'd rather have paperback versions. So when it came out in paperback, I pre-ordered it, and yeah, now it's here. So this is set in Siberia in 2031, and I knew it was about like the polar aspect, a wintry type story. So I just was like, yeah, that's something I'd read. So I bought it, and here we are. I do want to get around to reading this at some point before the summer, but we'll see how this might fit into my plans. But yeah, that's another new one. on the list. And then we have Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. So this book, again, has been talked about for so long. I've been influenced, which might actually be a project I should do. Reading books that I've been influenced to buy. But yeah, I've seen so many people rave about this, and I've seen it in Waterstones just there, and I picked it up. So this book is based about grief, and it has a very heavy storyline on that aspect. I was quite intrigued because it sounded so gorgeous, and I would really love to experience what everybody else has experienced with this book. It says it's an uplifting story about a life spent at the office and a death spent building a home. It sounds beautiful and probably like a fairy tale, but we shall see. And now we have one that I was kindly gifted, which is At Midnight, and this is a collection of stories, retold fairy tales by a bunch of authors, and this one is kindly gifted by Titan. So again, thank you so much for that. And this is kind of just like a fantasy spin, modernized fairy tale based stories. And I have actually hauled this one in a previous vlog that I did, but I thought I would add it in here saying as I didn't read it yet. But again, I do want to get around to it this year at some point, so you might be seeing this in another vlog. And finally, the last book that I hauled just recently, because it's like one of the last books from Grady Hendrix that I need to read, and that is My Best Friend's Exorcism. And this is like an 80s based story. It's like a supernatural thriller, and I adore a lot of Grady Hendrix books because they have a very comedic horror based type of writing style. So again, this has been read by so many people already, and it's just something that I haven't got around to reading from him. So I picked it up, and now I can't wait to read it. I adore the cover, by the way. It's so pretty. It's like a VHS tip. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to picking this one up at some point soon. So these are the books that have been hauled recently, and yeah, it's not that many, but that's the idea. I'm not trying to buy as many books as I have done in the past. I am wanting to read as much of my physical TBR as possible and keeping my editions low. Again, if there's a new release that I am really looking forward to reading, I will be picking it up like I did with the other two that I have already read. That is the video for today. It's a nice short one, again, just because I don't have many books to haul, but I hope you have enjoyed watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye!